Alright, final review for Halloween Horror Month, and I'm taking this stuff down. I already took the DVDs down because I needed them for my History of Horror video. This was one of the ones I wanted to get done before Halloween, and I'm glad it came out. Once I saw it came out, I'm like, oh, I gotta get it done before Halloween's done. Don't Breathe 2. You can tell from my face how I feel about this movie. When the first one came out, I went to the theater to see it. It blew me away. And the ending set up a sequel. You know, there could be a sequel. And the sequel everybody wanted. It was very simple. All you had to do was have the blind man somehow chase after Rocky, Jane Levy's character, and the little girl. And honestly, it writes itself. He's going after Jane Levy. He's going to take the sister. He wants to take the sister as his new daughter because Rocky took it away from her, right? Away from him, right? That's very simple. They decided, nah, let's not do that. Instead, let's do this story. Okay, so when they said sequel was gonna happen, that's great. And then some things started to just kind of fall apart. Fede Alvarez says decided he wasn't gonna direct it. Instead, directing duties went to Rodo Savagos. Okay. And Alvarez, I think, still produced it. He wrote it and produced it along with Sam Raimi and Rob Tapert, whatever. The second thing that had me worried was that Jane Levy wasn't coming back. Like, I haven't heard any news about casting, and then it was like, oh, she's not coming back. But Stephen Lang was coming back. And I'm like, well, how can they do a sequel without her? I mean, the story I just gave you needs her unless they recast. And there are multiple reasons thrown out there as to came back. Alvarez has stated that she didn't want to come back, but then she has stated that she was never asked to come back. And I don't remember who it was. It was Alvarez or if it was Raimi that said. I think it was Alvarez who said that they had an idea for a sequel that was, quote, the greatest idea for a sequel ever. Did that change? Because that's not what I saw on the screen. This isn't a bad movie. If you wanted to see Stephen Lang killing people, kicking ass, you got that. But I feel like they lost. I feel like in the writing, especially in the writing, they forgot. They had a memory lapse, a brain fart as to who this guy really is. Because, the trailers came out, and I don't remember if I did I think I did a reaction to it. I think I did, I don't remember. But it didn't look it looked like they were trying to make him sympathetic. Like he was the protagonist when we know he's not a very good person. And coming out of this film, I feel like if you went to a certain point and stopped, just end the movie there, it would have been fine. But then you had the whole final act where it just... No, it's painfully obvious that they were aiming to make this a redemption story for the blind man, or his name is Norman Nordstrom. So, according to Wikipedia, this takes place 8 years after the original film, so 2025, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 23, 24, 2024, I guess. The first one took place in 2016 to 2024. I was close, though, and I suck at math. And he is now living with a little girl, and he's training her, and he's got the dog. So I don't know if it is actually 8 years later. Maybe it's only a couple of years later. Who knows? He doesn't look like he's aged 8 years, so I don't know. But he's training her. And these people break in to try to steal the girl. Of course, he fights back. Now, at the beginning of this, there's a woman that was going to be sort of a female protagonist that we could follow. I thought, because when I was watching this, I thought, okay, maybe the trailers were misleading us, and she's actually going to be the one spearheading these people going in to get the girl, because she realized who he is. She felt like, she realized who he was and what he's done, or something. Because she did say, she says to him, you're not a good person, at least that's what you tell yourself. And it's like, okay, so is she trying to... I don't know. But it turns out it wasn't even that. He's very protective of the girl, which he named Phoenix. And, of course, you would, having you already lost a daughter before. Yeah. This lady, I don't even know her name, she's killed off, right away by this group. And that's how you're like, okay, they're bad people. But when they flip the twist on you later, it's like, okay, so they're people that will kill to get what they want, and then there's another twist after it. But this guy who looks like Dean Ambrose or John Moxley is breaking in with his gang, and there's some pretty cool kills, but they're not explicit. We could have done more, especially for someone who did the Evil Dead remake, and there was tons of gore in that. Even the first one had some decent gore, man. But here, I think mostly cutaways or something, or there is some gore, but it's not like the first one. I don't know why they toned it down, because there was a kid involved. I don't know. But yes, he fights back. The dog gets killed. That's sad. And I think they knew going in that people weren't going to be forgiving of Norman, or the blind man. So that's why you have the little girl. The little girl is the one you really want to root for in this, and I appreciate that. Because I don't care. I didn't care about the blind man. I'm like, am I supposed to be rooting for him? The man who killed people. Money wasn't the best. Money wasn't innocent. But what about Dylan Minette's character? He was somewhat innocent. I mean, he was helping break into places, but he was a good guy. He's killing people. He kidnapped a woman and inseminated her, and which I thought was going to be the case here. He kidnapped another woman, inseminated her. These people are working for her. And maybe I thought the woman was secretly working for her, but no, it's something like that, but it's not completely like that. Eventually this gang burns down the house and gets Phoenix out of there, where the man reveals that he's her real father. His name is Raylan. Reveals he's her real father, and her real name, birth name, is Tara. Her mother's name is Josephine, and she's still alive. And if they had ended with this reunion where they hug and everything, there's a moment where they get into where they're congregated, and they leave their dog behind for some reason, but the place where they congregate, And if they had this little reunion, if she had hugged her mother and we just ended there, I think it would have been fine. You could do a sequel where it's okay, he's still alive, but now make it where he's coming to take the girl and the parents have to protect her. That could be cool, but they kept going, and as soon as the mom started coughing, I knew what was going on. She started coughing. I went, oh no. They're doing the mother's dying and we only saved you because we want one of your organs thing. And that's exactly what the fuck they did. It's her heart. And my God, they went out of their way to write these people so fucking terrible. It's being so fucking terrible that you have to root for Norman to save her. Go fuck yourselves. You knew what the fuck you were doing, alright? Despite the fact that you went out there in articles and said, oh, no, this is not about rooting for him. He's still a very bad person. We're not trying to make you root for him. Bullshit. You set it up like it was a sweet little reunion between a mother and child, parents and their child, and then you made them the worst fucking parents in the entire world. They're meth dealers, and the mom is the cook, and if she dies, they can't sell product. Well, you can find another cook. I hear Walter White's available. Bitch. And they only saved her because they need her heart to transplant into her. First of all, I don't think that would work. A child's heart is a little bit small to put into an adult, wouldn't it be? But even more so, they say, oh, we don't have enough money for drugs and anything to stay here, so we're going to have to cut it out of her while she's awake. And I went, this is when I realized they were going out of their way to make us root for Norman. Because from this point on, yeah, you want Norman to come in and save her. It's revealed he's still alive, he survived the fire, and the dog is now on his side. And so, yes, he comes and saves the day. He does a thing from the trailer where he touches the water to feel them, shoots them all. He could have dealt with them separately in horrible, twisted ways, like he probably would have. But he doesn't. He just shoots them. He should have went through each and every one of them. You can kill them, not just all at one shot, but, you know. He does save her, and then we get the biggest middle finger to the first film. He apologizes for everything, and admits that he was a bad person and all the bad stuff he ever done, and tells her to run, to get away from him because he's a bad person. I've done bad things. And then Raylan comes back to life because he was supposedly killed off. Stabs him in the back. But that's the dad, by the way. Then Phoenix, Tara, kills Raylan, her own father, by the way. Which I guess he deserves to die. And then Norman dies. And then we see... Yes, I did this. Dies. Because you just wait. Because then Phoenix, she goes to a boarding school or whatever it is. And she wants to join that. And they ask what her name is, and she says, Phoenix. Okay. And the movie ends. Well, we get a mid-credit scene where we see the quote-unquote body of the blind man laying there. And the dog comes up and starts licking his hand, and we just the camera sort of just sets on his hand. As if to say, hey, he's not entirely dead. Because this motherfucker, he's Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees stuff. So why couldn't we do the sequel idea I had? It would have made more sense than this. I gave this movie the benefit of the doubt, alright? I don't hate this movie. I thought when it came to the action parts, it was really good. But once it got to the parents, oh, we're your birth parents, and everything, and had this reunion, and the movie didn't end there, and then she starts coughing, and I'm like, oh no. Because I knew what they were doing, and then the more and more, they went out of their way to make these the worst parents in history, so that you would root for Norman to save the girl. It frustrates me because, you know, for them to go out of their way to do this and then say in interviews so people will go and watch it, because if they said, oh yeah, we make him the hero, people wouldn't watch this. They know what kind of person this character is. And while I'm not against trying to humanize a character like that, when you go out of your way to make to put in a pair of piece of shit parents who would not only use their own daughter to transplant so that they can do drugs, but would do it while she's still awake, alive, feel pain. I just couldn't, like, knock her on the head with a mallet to knock her unconscious or something. I don't know. It just... nerve rattling. Oh yeah. It says right here, nerve rattling. And it's twisted. Clever and twisted. Nerve rattling. Oh yeah, I rattled my nerves all right. All in all, I'd have to say that Don't Breathe is firmly in the middle of the road. Of all the sequels to Don't Breathe you could have done, this is like not even one I would think of. You could have him going after them, and like I said, I could write a sequel that works better. Norman goes after Rocky and the sister, and now, since he realizes that there's a little girl involved, he wants the sister to replace the baby that Rocky took. The child that Rocky quote-unquote took. Quote-unquote child that Rocky took. It makes all the sense in the world. You know? But no, they decided to try to humanize and make you root for Norman, which is one of the most frustrating things. Like, why would you do that? We know he's a rapist, a murderer, not a good guy, and yet you say, oh, we put in these piece of shit characters that are 10 times worse than he is. I don't know. Could be considered to be 10 times as worse as he is. Then they can root for him. And just, no. Why would you do that? And as for the quote, greatest idea for a sequel ever, not even close. My idea was better. It makes more sense. But yeah, it's in the middle of the road. I wasn't expecting much. Much like with Paranormal Activity Next of Kin, I wasn't expecting much for this because I heard the reviews. People were like, oh yeah, they did exactly. But I gave it the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, well, maybe they're perceiving it wrong. But no, they went out of their way. They went out of their way to make sure you were rooting for him. So, yeah, middle of the road. So what are your thoughts on Don't Breathe 2? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.